Hello everyone again, new lesson, and today's lesson is about tables. Last lesson we were talking about videos. Today is going to be about table. Uh, Tables in HTML, or actually tables in general, most people look at table as a structure that is a collection of rows and columns. Some other people looks at them as a collection of cells, and again a cell is an intersection of one cell is an intersection of column and row, which is the same thing. And there is some other people look at it. There's so many people, it depend, they have a different view to a table. Like I give you an example, software engineering who are using Excel software most of the time, so they refer to a table as columns and rows. But people who are dealing with database analysis and doing Access and SQL database, they are looking at a table as, rather than columns and rows, they look at it as records and fields. And programmers and people who are doing the codes and stuff like that, they look at it in a different way. But anyway, regardless of how you look and what's your view about tables, today we're going to talk about how tables are represented in HTML document. So back to our HTML document, the way you represent tables, we're going to use the double tag, table double tag. And every time I say double tag means we have an open and close, open tag and close tag. And every time I'm saying single tag is just open tag. So I'm sure you guys know this by now. So table tag is a double tag. So you just put table, and between the table open and between the table close tag, you start putting your rows. And within the rows, you put your columns. So the way you put your rows, we use the tr tag to represent, to represent a row. And here tr represent one row, and inside that row you put the column. So let's say we're going to have 3 columns in this row. So let me say, and columns is represented by the tag td. So in the first, I'm going to put the name, okay, and then I'm going to use another column. Let me call, oops, wait a minute, another column. Let's use 3 columns. So name, and how about age, and how about the third column? We're going to call it maybe balance. Okay, so now as soon as I'm going to save here this document, I want you to look on the right side here on the browser. So I'm going to click, I'm going to save here now, and you notice here we have name, age, and balance. It's 1 row, 3 columns. So let me add another row. So for the sake of time, so I'm going to copy that first row here, and I'm going to paste it here the same again here. And wait a minute, why it's going here? So I need to a little indentation. So I'm going to save, and notice here we have name, age, and balance. So let me change. So we will see here name, maybe Tom, and for the age, let's say I'm going to put Tom's is 25 years old, so let's put 25. And for the balance, let me put $3,400. So I'm going to save here. So you notice here we have Tom and 25, and we have the balance. So let me have a third row just for the sake of, to make it more clear. I'm going to copy that one, and I'm going to put that here. Oops. So that is the third one, and let's change the values here in the third one. Instead of Tom, let me put Kathy, and instead of 25 age, put 19, and instead of $3,400, let me put $2,400. So we have, now you can see we have a table of 3 rows. So we have the first rows for TR, and then another TR open and TR close, and another TR open and TR close, and within those TRs we have the TDs for the columns. So we have 3 rows, each row contains 3 columns. This is the way you do tables initially, but let's make it looks like a table actually. So physically look like a table. So I can use the border attribute here, the border attribute, and let's put just one to make some border around the whole thing. So now you can see it looks like a real table. What is this 2400? That should be 00, not 00. Okay, I'm sorry. That's 00. Okay, so now it looks like a real table. What we can do here now, also we can add a caption. Okay, so let's add the caption attribute here on the top. Okay, I'll put the caption so you can see, guys, what it's doing gonna do for us. It's gonna work like a title, actually, title for the table. So let me say main table. Oops, main table. Okay, a problem with the spelling. So it's on the top and it's centered. So the caption attribute is used for this sake. One thing we also need to know here is the location of the table. So the top left corner of the browser, we can control that by when we start using CSS, and we're going to do that. So we don't have to do it over here now. But another thing I want to do here, I want to add a fourth row, and that fourth row will have only 2 columns rather than having 3 columns. So let's see what's going to happen here. So in the third, let me adjust here. Okay, I will say TR, and one more time, I am having a problem. TR, in the TR in the fourth column, in the fourth row, I'm going to add 2 columns only instead of 3. So I'm going to add 2 columns only instead of 3. Here is 1, and then let me add another one. In the first one, I'm going to put the total. I'm going to put the total. And the second one, I will leave it blank. So I'm going to save here. So you notice here, I have totals, and then I have in the second column, it's a blank. But it doesn't look good. Why? Because it's not. It's like you have in the third column you have nothing here. The cell here is empty, so that doesn't look good. So the way you fix that, we want to have that column. I'm sorry, the second column in the fourth row. We want to have it spread all over the whole table, so go all the way to the end. The way you do that is using an attribute that calls we call it the the column span. So the column span, and then let's put 2 here. So that 2 means I want you to have that column equal the width of 2 columns. So I will save here now. As soon as you save, you notice here it's spread on the whole thing. Also, another thing we can do, we can do the same thing. Rather than using the column span, we can use the row span. For example, if we have the amount of dollar here, the balance of Kathy is the same as the balance of Tom. Let's say Kathy has 3,400 as well. So let's change it. I'm gonna put here 34 instead of. Okay, so now let me save. So now both of them have 34. So there is no need to have, if they're both the same, I can have like one amount and then spread it across from Tom and Kathy. So the way you do this, we're going to use the row span rather than using the column span. So let me comment out that 1, So this way we don't have the Kathy amount, and we're going to spread the 3400 of Tom all over the two the two rows. So the way you do that, we're going to go here on the 3400 for Tom, and I'm going to put here the row span. This time I'm going to put it 2 instead of one of blank. So I'm going to save here, and you notice here it's spread all over the two rows. So this is how you do it over here. Another thing you can do here is the totals. If you notice here, I can rather using the two, I can even remove that one. I'm going to remove that. I'm coming out that one, and I leave the totals here, only one column, and I want to spread the totals over the 3 different columns. So I'm going to use, now you know how we do that. We're going to use the row span, but instead of here of over here, we're going to put it the row span, I'm sorry, the column span over here in the totals column itself. So I'm going to say here column span, and this time I'm going to say 3. I want to save. You notice it's here, and also it doesn't look good because it's on all the way on the left. We can just we can do alignment. We can align that. So I can just go here, and over here I can use align, which is not recommended to use it in HTML. We're going to do this all with CSS, but just in case, if you need to know how to do it in and you notice here it's red, and red means like it's no longer used by HTML5. But anyway, I'm going to put 3 here. I'm sorry, not 3, center. I'm going to center. I want to center this. I'm going to save. You notice totals are centered on the 3 different columns. So merge and center. Actually, it's not merge, it's centered. So this is one way to do a table. One thing also I need to let you know, okay, is to add maybe a background. So let's say I want to add a background for the first row. Color, let's say BG color equal, and I'm going to say red. I'm going to save that. You notice here the first row is red. You want to do it with the whole table, you can just put it here. So let's say, I'll move this. I want to move it from here. I don't want to call it red. I want the whole table to have a background color red. So you just put it on the table open tag here, and you put the BG color attribute, and you make it, let's say, maybe blue or red or whatever you want. So I'm going to save that. You notice the whole table is blue. Actually, red is better because, or yeah, it doesn't, it's not appearing. So let's say pink. Let's see how it's going to look like. Yeah, you can do that. So anyway, borders and coloring and background and all of that stuff, we're going to learn how to do this in details when we start using CSS. But just in case you want to do it with HTML, you do it that way. One last thing I want you to know, and it's optional, but it's very much recommended to do, is using I'm sorry, not that one, is using the head and the foot and the body tag. So using the head and the foot and the body tag, this is very much recommended to do with tables. As I mentioned, it's optional, but when we start dealing with CSS, and when we start dealing with dynamic tables and calculations, when we start using JavaScript, it's going to be very helpful features to add. Now let me show you how to do this. So, and it's very good in rearranging and the location of your data. So I'll give you a quick example here. I'm going to put here, I'm going to use the T head, the T-H-E-A-D, the T head, and you notice here the T head is double tag. And all what I'm going to do here, I'm going to move that on inside the T head. So the first row, I'm going to just relocate it, or move it to the first, or between the two t-head tag. And then I'm going to save. Okay, nothing happened, completely nothing happened, but it's arranged that this is the head. What's good about that is, like, you can put the t-head anywhere. So if I move the whole t-head here, so let's say I'm going to move this, let's just like indent this thing. So I'm going to command save, shift option, alt and F. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to move this head, the whole head, all the way in the bottom. So all the way in the bottom, just before the closing tag. And I'm going to save. You will notice that nothing happened, nothing changed. Why nothing changed? It's still t-head, is because if you just remove that t-head, let's remove this. You guys, you will see now it's a big mess. So I'm going to move now the t-head, the th, or the t-head, open and close. And now when I save, look what's going to happen to the table. So the header became a footer. So it's a big mess. So that's why having them, the t-head and the t-body and the t-foot, is so much recommended to have them all the time. So over here, let's say I'm going to put here this one. Let's move back this thing or on the top. Okay, I will move it back to the top here. And then I'm going to use the t-body here, the t-body. Okay, the t-body tag. And inside the t-body tag, I'm going to move the two rows, those two rows. I'm going to move them over here. Okay, the row for Tom and Kathy. Okay, Command S, nothing changed. And then over here, I'm going to use the t-foot with the open and close tag. Then I'm going to remove the last row, actually, inside here. Nothing is changed, but the good thing, as I mentioned, if you can move the, if you move the t-footer anywhere in the code, anywhere here, let's say I'm going to move it here above the head. So I'm going to move it here on the top, and then save. Nothing happened. It's still at the bottom. Why? Because you already specify that this is the footer of the table. The good thing, it's very good practice to do that. The good thing about doing this is that we will start, when we start the CSS and we'll start doing dynamic tables in the, we'll start doing the dynamic tables when we use JavaScript. We'll be able to do this. After I'm finishing this series of HTML, I will start on CSS, and after CSS, I'm going to do JavaScript. So you guys, we're going to go in details about that. I think that's all what I want you to know about tables, and I'll see you guys on the next lesson. See you guys.